The final volume of Tensura plunges deep into a battle of unimaginable violence, a final confrontation that seals the masterful conclusion of this legendary saga. Despite this explosive ending, several mysteries remain and continue to fascinate fans. One of the greatest is undoubtedly this one. Why was Rimuru able to continue fighting even though his soul had been completely torn from his being? At that precise moment, Rimuru fights without the assistance of Ciel, yet behind this seemingly inexplicable phenomenon may lie a staggering intervention by our dear Ciel herself. In this video, we will explore in detail the reason why Rimuru was able to continue the battle despite the loss of his soul. This analysis includes the final volume and focuses on the ultimate duel against Veldanava. Even though he had renounced his omniscience and absolute omnipotence, Veldanava remains the god who once created the entire world. A battle against such a divine entity reaches heights of brutality that are simply unimaginable. At the heart of this confrontation, Veldanava unleashes his ultimate technique, soul seizing, the absolute mastery of the soul. This ability is a true, absolute cheat code, an attack that tears out the very soul of its target without the slightest discussion or resistance. No matter the solidity of the defensive barriers erected by the opponent, no matter the power or the nature of their existence, it directly targets the fundamental core of the being, the soul itself, and mercilessly extracts it, arrogantly ignoring the laws of the world. Thanks to this attack, our protagonist, Rimuru Tempest, sees his soul completely torn away, plunging into a state of total chaos. The terror of this technique lies precisely in its inevitability. It depends on no condition, no prior weakness. It violates the very rules of reality to seize the vital essence. Amid the despair that engulfs Rimuru's allies, as everyone prepares to accept inevitable defeat, an incredible scene unfolds. Rimuru's body, which should have lost its soul and therefore its very existence, suddenly rises. His consciousness persists, and he resumes the fight with his ferocity completely intact, standing up to Veldanava, and at times surpassing him in this titanic final exchange. In a world where the absence of a soul should lead to immediate extinction, how is such a miracle possible? The key to solving this enigma lies in the very structure of the soul as revealed within the universe of Tensei Slime. According to canonical explanations, the soul is composed of three distinct and hierarchical layers. At the deepest level lies the ego, or the self, an undefined and amorphous wave, the true root of consciousness and primordial will. It is this raw and original sensation of being oneself that constitutes the most fundamental essence of any individual. Surrounding this ego is the heart core, also known as the spiritual core, an immense aggregate of information particles. This is where all essential data are engraved: memories, experiences, knowledge, and above all, the information related to skills, whether unique skills or ultimate skills. The heart core is the complete repository of identity and of everything that defines a person. Finally, covering the heart core like a protective and energetic shell stands the soul itself in the strict sense, a solidified crystal of energy that serves as the source of raw power. This layer provides the vital energy required to activate and sustain all the skills engraved within the core. Without it, even the most powerful skills become inert, deprived of their energy supply. Under normal circumstances, Veldanava's soul-seizing attack does not merely extract the energy crystal. Its absolute nature allows it to threaten the entirety, ego, heart core, and energy crystal in a single merciless and unavoidable strike. In Rimuru's case, the attack succeeds in tearing out the soul, instantly cutting off every source of energy. Even worse, Ciel, who had completely integrated herself into Rimuru's heart core, is carried away along with it, plunging Rimuru into a state of extreme and absolute chaos without the support of his manas. Yet one crucial detail turns the tide. Thanks to the special and profound bond that links Rimuru to Veldora, a backup of his heart core, and more importantly, of his ego, had been safely preserved within the soul of the storm dragon. When the soul was torn away, Rimuru's ego was ejected and found refuge within Veldora, thus escaping complete seizure by Veldanava. It is then that Ciel, even in this extreme situation, deploys her absolute genius. She prepares and injects a substitute artificial soul, a temporary pseudo-soul, into Rimuru's weakened slime body. By projecting the surviving ego, the one that had been safely housed within Veldora, into this substitute, Rimuru manages to partially reconnect with his physical vessel. The chaos lasts only a brief instant. The body rises, consciousness returns in full force, and the battle resumes as if nothing had been lost. Thus, even deprived of his original soul, Rimuru continues to exist and to fight thanks to this miraculous intervention. The life-saving backup within Veldora combined with Ciel's masterful action. However, since Ciel was carried away by the attack, this means that Rimuru's heart core is at least partially, if not entirely, compromised or absent. Veldanava's attack was not a simple, isolated strike against a single target. It was a continuous, multi-dimensional offensive, capable of traveling back through the soul corridor itself in order to hunt down and destroy everything within it. In theory, even the backup preserved inside Veldora's soul should have been reached and annihilated by this divine ability advancing through the corridor. It is known, moreover, that when faced with Veldanava's ultimate technique, even Velgrin's parallel existences would have offered no effective protection. It must be recalled that each created body possesses its own soul, a soul strictly identical to that of the user. This makes each of them a fully autonomous being, capable of thinking, acting, and making decisions independently. Under these conditions, any one of these bodies can be considered the true main body, and even if the original body were to disappear, the others would continue to exist without being affected. However, Veldanava's ability completely transcends these principles. In the face of his power, such rules no longer hold any value. From the moment a single body is struck, regardless of whether the others are independent or not, the outcome is inevitable. All other existences are annihilated simultaneously, including those located in distinct parallel dimensions. Doesn't that remind you of the instant death ability of Yogiri? Anyway, let's continue. Consequently, Rimuru's resurrection should be considered theoretically impossible. Rimuru himself attributes his return to a miraculous stroke of luck, an unexpected miracle in this absolute crisis. Yet reality points towards something far more intentional, an extremely high probability that this was not chance, but a deliberate and calculated action. And of course, Ciel's shadow looms over all of this. To better understand, let us closely examine what truly constitutes the heart core, the very element with which Ciel had fully fused. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this video. If that's the case, leave a like and a positive comment to show your support. Thank you. The heart core, according to the revelations of Luminous, is formed by two essential components: memory and personality. Memory represents the accumulation of all experiences lived by a being, every event, every moment that has shaped their history. Personality, for its part, encompasses one's unique character, patterns of thought, values, beliefs, and everything that defines who one truly is. These two elements intertwine to create the heart core, and it is also there that information related to skills and other fundamental data is engraved. Within the work, it is repeatedly stated that the heart core is the most rigorously protected element of any being, and this is hardly surprising. The heart core is the very essence of the individual. If memory and personality were to be destroyed or erased, even an intact body would no longer be oneself. The heart core is the ultimate proof of identity, the place where all the information that makes you you is concentrated and safeguarded. However, the story shows that certain beings manage to return even after the apparent destruction of their heart core. For ordinary demons, shattering the heart core is equivalent to definitive annihilation. Without engraved memory and personality, they can no longer sustain themselves. Yet there are notable exceptions, particularly among the primordials, such as Diablo and the 6 other original demons. Their reputation does not rest solely on overwhelming power, but on their immortality and indestructibility. Even if their heart core is destroyed, they return in a continuous form, endlessly reborn. These 7 entities were born as anomalies, bugs derived from the 7 primordial angels, and therefore do not represent the general rule. For most demons, destroying the core is enough to eliminate them permanently. In contrast, the race of the true dragons functions differently. Even when shattered, their heart core allows for resurrection. However, this return comes at a price. Part of their memories and personality is reset. Veldora is the perfect example. his sister Velzard destroyed him multiple times to discipline him, thereby resetting portions of his personality. He returns, but not exactly as before, an altered version of himself. This phenomenon directly stems from the fact that memory and personality are inscribed within the heart core. Losing them means losing a part of oneself. Velzard herself once froze her own heart core to seal away her emotions and eliminate all hesitation, once again proving that the heart core is the seat of feelings, personality, and deep identity. By freezing it, she was able to suppress those aspects of herself. All of this leads us to a crucial truth. As long as the heart core is protected, even the total loss of the soul, that energy crystal, does not necessarily doom a being to disappearance. It is possible to maintain existence and to return. A major precedent confirms this hypothesis. Twilight Valentine, the divine ancestor. His heart core was protected within Velzard herself. Thanks to this, he was able to resurrect despite the destructive judgments that pierced him. This case provides a major clue for understanding how Rimuru was able to continue fighting after losing his soul. To complete the picture, let us recall that the soul, this three-layered structure, is itself enveloped by an astral body, the most fragile and outermost layer. Clayman, during his battle against Rimuru, attempted to flee via his astral body, but Rimuru devoured him, soul included, putting an end to his attempt. Likewise, during the war against the Eastern Empire, Veldora was able to protect Rimuru by separating his heart core, thus avoiding any negative impact on his ally. In this specific case, the soul corridor linking Rimuru and Veldora plays a decisive role. The two are deeply connected through this bond. Veldora's soul permanently contains a backup of Rimuru's information, and vice versa. Thanks to this constant backup, even if Veldora's soul were separated or dominated by a third party, it could be restored via Rimuru, and the reverse is also true. This mechanism of mutual preservation via the soul corridor largely explains why the backup of Rimuru's heart core within Veldora was able to survive and serve as the foundation for his temporary resurrection. Even though this mechanism remains highly exceptional, it is clear that when a being maintains a deep bond with another, restoration becomes possible through that connection. However, as we have already emphasized, Veldanava's attack was a continuous multidimensional offensive, capable of traveling back through the soul corridor to strike relentlessly and endlessly, hunting down all possible existences. Even if Veldora, in the form of a reinforced clone of Rimuru, retained a backup of Rimuru's information, such a pursuit should inevitably have reached and destroyed that refuge. From that point on, it becomes logical to wonder whether Rimuru had not, in addition to Veldora, transferred part or even the entirety of his heart elsewhere, to a protected location. Where exactly can a heart be stored outside the body? The work provides several fascinating precedents that shed light on this possibility. The first example remains Twilight Valentine, whose heart was protected within Velzard. But the story goes even further. Twilight had completely digitized and transformed his own heart core into a form of pure information, fusing with an ultimate skill to transcend the stage of a higher spiritual entity and become a manas. Thanks to this, he was able to coexist within the heart core of another being and preserve his data intact there. A similar case concerns Maria, the manas who incarnated within Yuki. Although she lost part of her memories, her personality was preserved, unfortunately, in the distorted and regrettable form of Maria Bell. These examples show that by becoming a manas hosted within another individual, it is possible to safeguard the information of the heart. It is essential not to confuse an ultimate skill that has evolved into a manas with a true living being endowed with a soul, which then reaches the stage of an information-based life form to become a manas. These two cases may lead to the same designation, but their origins are fundamentally different. Manas born from an ultimate skill are by nature devoid of a soul of their own. To preserve their ego and ensure their continuity, they must imperatively rely on a host. This coexistence can take two forms, either a stable cohabitation or a parasitic relationship. Nevertheless, as the case of Michael clearly demonstrated, a manas can appropriate a soul that has become empty, that is, a soul that has lost its original ego after the latter's death. In such a situation, the manas then acquires the ability to exist autonomously, without depending on a living host. That said, it is highly improbable that Rimuru, as the central protagonist, could have settled as a manas within the heart of another character. Ciel would never have allowed it, and it would run counter to all narrative logic. Another precedent exists. Twilight had created with his own hands Origin Blood, an artifact within which he had stored a backup of his memories. Thanks to this, even after his death, he was able to resurrect while retaining part of his memory. However, since he had also separated his personality, his return was not complete. The memory was there, but the incomplete personality caused malfunctions and errors. This inverse case demonstrates an essential truth. If both memory and personality are preserved in the form of complete information, a perfect resurrection becomes theoretically possible. The most crucial point remains this. It has been proven that the information of the heart core can be stored outside the body within a vessel such as a weapon. Twilight is the living proof of this.